Hi, this is Steve, Dichroic Glass Man. Well, if you fuse glass, I'm going to give you a really cool idea here today with this video. Sorry about my board here. It's kind of dinged up, scratched up, I should say, from all the videos I've done. Anyway, this is about float dichroic glass. Not a lot of people are familiar with float, but I want to give you a good reason why you want to be. Well, float is window glass. It's coefficiency 8284. So it's basically not compatible with Bullseye 90 or Spectrum 96, although I do know an artist that is fusing float to coefficiency 90. Been doing it for years. But it's an at-your-risk proposition, so I'm not going to advocate it. But what we're talking about is float window glass. To my knowledge, nobody's ever shown me a float dichroic cabochon, and to my knowledge, I'm the only one that's making cabochons out of float dichroic glass. I'm sure there's hundreds of those people that are, just don't know each other. Haven't seen any on eBay, although I'm sure you've existed doing them. I've done many of them and listed them on eBay. It's kind of pretty cool. They're kind of tough to do because there's not a lot of accessories for float dichroic or fusing float. All the games and bells and whistles that are available for 90 and 96. Well, Dichro's not a respecter of glass. Dichro loves being coated on any kind of glass, and in this instance, we're talking float. Float's very thin. I was moving today, so my hands are a little beat up. Sorry that I don't have the Noxema or the well, what is that one? They're soaking their Palmolive hands to advertise. So, but anyway, you get the idea. This is 1 millimeter or 040. It's very thin glass. And what you can do with it is all kinds of cool things in the idea of making earrings and such. In fact, I used to make these little squares out of the float. And when they were on the ladies' ears, as they turned, they would make some cool colors. So this is cool. Drill holes, and then you fire polish the edges so that you don't get cut. Then I evolved to taking strange shapes, rectangles and a right triangle and a square, and put those on. And they sold fairly well years ago. Don't make a lot of noise though. Then I got to making abstracts. And I would just take random pieces and I love that little noise. And I would take random pieces of dichroic scrap, fire polish them so that you smooth the edges off, drill them, and then put a hole in them. Float dichro is harder glass than your Bullseye. In fact, the lower the COE, when you get down to boro, it's really hard glass. So the higher the number, the softer the glass, and the lower the number, the harder the glass. So because this is 8284, literally it's stronger glass than the traditional thin-rolled Bullseye 90. So you can get this thin stuff, and it's tough stuff. I mean, it's not going to break, even though it's really thin. It's amazing. Well, then I started making them into squares and made little shapes and glued them on, and that was all fun and well. Check these out. What you want to do is fuse two pieces of glass together into a square. And this is about 3/4 of an inch square. And at the bottom, you put wire in there, in between your two pieces of glass. A lot of people have done this already before, and you want to use really good silver. In this case, little crystals on the end with a head pin tied in. Let's see if I can't get this camera to focus a little bit better. Doesn't want to go in close. Let's see. Guess I can't get that real close, tight shot. That's about as good as I'm going to get. Right there. You can see the loop that comes out in between the two pieces of glass here. So what you want to do is use thin, what I used in this case is thin black with a piece of thin dichro over the top. But what's really cool is this glass right here is float. See this float right here? It's very thin. Hardly even sticks up over the surface. That's how thin this stuff can be. So it's a pretty pair of earrings. Check this out. I think they're attractive. I'm not going to wear them, but I love making them. So the point being, where we're going with this thing, if you didn't have dichro on the back, and let's just say you use thin roll black on the back and thin roll on the top, put your loop in the middle, and you're thinking, well, what are you going to get? Just a piece of black glass with a loop on it. But look at all this dichro. Can you imagine all the little shards that you could cut up out of these random little pieces of all these different colors? My gosh. It sets the mind to wandering. All you really got to do is fuse up a 3/4 inch square with a loop in it. You'll hang your beadwork off of it later. And then you cut this up into tiny shards. All of this right here, let me stand up here so you can get a better angle. All this right here, and here's my hand, give you an idea. That's a lot of dichro. That's 1 ounce. That's an ounce. And I think I'm going to sell it for $10 an ounce. So literally, you're going to get all this dichro. These are random colors. That's Rainbow 2 Plus, which I have a whole tub of. But I've also got RBA. This is green, magenta, blue. Here's some blue gold. I've got green pink. I've got silver. I've got cyan copper. Here's some RBA. Here's a bracelet. I saw this on Rio Grande. And I think it was for sale for $55 or $65. Crazy. So I made one just for the fun of it. Kind of poking fun at it. I've seen these for $55 on eBay. A guy used to sell them about 8 years ago, and he'd call them amazing earrings. Well, I'm selling them now. I'll make you the squares, sell you the squares, or sell you the float. So contact me on my website, dichroicglassman.com, or through the YouTube, because I want to sell all my scraps. I'm accumulating this stuff because it comes from my dichroic bevels and jewels. So I'm going to sell all this, $10. For a whole ounce. That's going to get you a ton of glass, and all you'd have to do is make 1 pair of earrings, 1 pair. Just make some random cuts, and this is all paid for. Wow, I think that's got a lot of potential. So, hey, get on the horn, get in the email. So what I'm going to do, when you buy an ounce, I'm going to mix it all up. I've got 10, 12, 15 colors. I'm going to make an ounce. All kinds of cool little shards. I mean, look at this one. This one's whisker thin. That's very thin. So, these are shards. All you got to do is clean them up with alcohol because they might have some lines on them. See, I put lines. But these are Sharpie. Come right off. You can either rub them off, just like I'm doing. Well, let's see. Here's the dichro side. Just take some alcohol and that comes right off. See? You can kind of see already. Comes right off. So, I think we're talking tremendous possibilities. Contact me, dichroicglassman.com. Bye-bye.